Normally Iridium, this should be the last review of the day, I think. Steel Rhino and their self-titled album. So this is another one that I didn't hear a lot about, and all of a sudden it pops up, I think, on Facebook as a sort of like a recommendation. Listen to it. Sounded great. So I thought I'd get the album. It came out last Friday. I got it on Spotify. It was released, like I said, last Friday. I think it was the 20th or something like that. These are a Swedish sort of project, if you like. And this is coming from the main influence, or the driving force behind this project, is Michael Rosengren. I think I pronounced that right, from Dirty Passion or Bye Bang. They're sort of a part. I think Bye Bang are sort of like a party, 80s party sort of band. And he's teamed up with a guy called Herbie Langens, and he's the vocalist. He was on the last album, I think, for Firewind. So these two guys work really well together. I think I can't find any other thing on the project about the other musicians. I don't know if Michael Rosengren is doing everything apart from the vocals, but I know Herbie Langens is definitely doing the vocals. So I don't know. It's very sort of vague what you can find on the band for me. Perhaps someone can let me know in the comments below. So this is like Michael Rosengren's solo album, if you like, guitar album. But it's definitely a song album. It's not like a guitarist bringing out all these instrumentals where he's going off on one all the time. This is just about the songs. And it's a great album, and one that's really surprised me. This is very 80s inspired, a mix of European and American sort of rock and metal. Very catchy, very hooky, guitar melodies all over it, very catchy indeed. Totally guitar driven album. I don't think I heard a keyboard. I really don't think I did. I may be wrong, but I don't think I did. It's a fun album, maybe not sort of lyrically the most intelligent album, because it is harking back to those 80s sort of stuff, but the music is, really fun. And the lyrically it's not fun, because there's some subjects that are quite serious, but there's sort of a fun element running through the music. I'll go on to each track, but it's absolutely brilliant. Herbie Langens, the vocalist, he does a great job, and he does remind me a bit sometimes when he gets a bit more aggressive, if you like, in the mix. It reminds me a bit of Udo. Dirk Snyder. He's got that sort of feel where his voice changes slightly when he gets a bit more aggressive, and he's got a real gravelly sort of vocal. I think it really suits this band. I actually liked him in Firewind as well. I think the album came out last year. I reviewed it, and I think he's got that deepness to his voice. He's got a great tone, but he's got a gravelly sort of Udo sort of sound to it as well. Absolutely great. And Michael Rosengren does a great job on the guitar. It's all about the melody with this guy. Solos, melodies running through it. It's very catchy, this album. Just what people on this channel will love. Catchy, melodic, hard rock, stroke metal, for sure. So, starts off with Rhino Attack, which is the first song. So, the band's called Steel Rhino. The album's called Steel Rhino. The first song's called Rhino Attack. It's sort of a gallop on this, like a heaven and hell. Bit of a strange one to open with, because it's got that slow to medium pace sort of gallop, with some great sort of galloping riffs, like following the bass line, if you like. Is this really about steel rhinos like attacking? I don't know. Is it a metaphor for something else? But as far as I know, it is about metal rhinos attacking. Anyway, it's a great metal song though. Whatever you think it might be about, and I'm probably completely way out there, it's a great metal song. I'm not sure if it should have been the track one because of the pace of it, but I love it. This is the perfect sort of pace for me. So as a track, I absolutely love the track. I just don't know if it's an opener, if that makes any sense. Next up is Arrival, another medium pace song, more of a Maiden type melody kicking this one off. Feels more power metal. There's elements of power metal for sure in this, but mainly straightforward metal, sometimes hard rock. But it's definitely more power metal than the first track, a great groove to it, and a very catchy chorus. There's catchy choruses all the way through this, by the way. Loving Easy is next, more of a party track, taking an American hard rock sort of influence from the early 80s, I would say, but another strong track. It's a really good opening. I can't see any real weaknesses on this album. I like some tracks more than others, But Loving Easy is a great track. Steel Rhino, so the title track is next. This carries on with those early 80s American metal sort of sound. Great groove to it. Not sure about the lyrics again. I can't understand how a band sings about rhinos if they actually are. It's original, isn't it? It's definitely original. I mean, I was thinking to myself, imagine if they actually go out on tour and get a band together, will they have a Steel Rhino come out? You know, like their Eddie of Iron Maiden. I can imagine a metal rhino just running out on the stage. It'd be fucking brilliant. Anyway, Bells of Midnight is next. This is one of my favourite songs, actually. Slow to medium pace, some heavy riffs and bells tolling. You can't go net better than bells tolling. How many songs have started with bells tolling that are fucking great? So vocals take on almost a sort of a horror feel at the beginning, and then into a classic metal song. Galloping again. They like a bit of a gallop, this band, and I do as well. So that's why it suits me. Fire and Ice is next. This was a single, actually. I'm bringing you the rise of evil. I'm bringing down the northern light. Back to the power metal feel, a slight metal gallop, and a slightly party type chorus as well. So they do mix it up in the songs as well with different types of genres, if you like. Ghost from the Past is next. This one is a fun chugging song, has a real 80s vibe. Such a catchy chorus again. Sands of Time is next. This one has some cool heavy riffing throughout, but also has a nice catchy chorus. This project really, like I said on the last song, mixes it up. The cat just gone past. Keeping the heavy rock and metal feel throughout, but sort of touching upon genres coming in and out. But you've no doubt this is a hard rock metal album. But, you know, different types of metal are used. Nothing like extreme or thrash or death metal, but it's all in that hard rock, heavy metal vein. But they do touch upon a lot of it. Very cool. Next up is Life We Choose. Now, this one's another fun song, a simple but catchy guitar melody. The guitarist chooses to do sort of simple but catchy stuff. I'm saying simple. I ain't got a fucking clue. I can't play anything, but you know what I mean. As the listener, it's sort of simple but effective. It's like I said, a sort of a fun party track. This album is ain't gonna get any awards for being like lyrically intelligent. You know, it's not one of them sort of albums, but that's not what it's about. It's about fun, and you know that's the way it makes me feel. I think this guitarist who was out of Buy Bang, I don't know if he's still in Buy Bang. They're a fun band, I believe, very 80s influenced, and you know them elements come into this. Boom Boom is another single. It's the 10th track. It's a revolution staring out into the night. This song sort of like rides along on a simple but effective bass line. The bass is nice and loud on this album, by the way. You know, it's like right up in the mix. Another catchy chorus, riff heavy. I love the solo on this. I don't know why, but this one really stood out. And the way the guitarist works, I've said this before, I love guitarists that think about their solos and don't just jam a solo out and just it doesn't sound like it's made up as they're going along. It really sounds like they thought things out like they did back in those classic 80s days. Sorry to harp back the 80s, but this has an 80s vibe through it. New Tomorrow is the last song rounding off the album. This has a real fun sort of feel to it. Some whoa-ohs at the beginning. You never have enough whoa-ohs in a song. This has a sort of power metal vibe to it. A slightly cheesy chorus, but not too cheesy where I'm like, oh, that's just too much. But it's sort of an uplifting song for sure. And I think it's about, just on first listen, I think it's about like, you know, all the soldiers and the armies that have died for their country to bring a better life for you and me. I think that's what it's about. But it's real uplifting at the same time. So, man, this is a real surprise. This come out of nowhere, like I said. Some albums do, and they surprise you. And this is a really strong album. So if you're into your 80s hard rock and metal, slightly European influenced and American influenced as well at the same time, you're going to love this. Give it a listen. Maybe just play a track on YouTube or whatever and see if you like it, then get it. You know, I'm just recommending it because I like it. It's the sort of stuff that fits right in this channel and that people that watch this channel will like. So highly recommended. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time.